Hello everybody, my name is John Moses.
And I'm Jessica Riquejo.
And this is your San Antonio Market Snapshot.
So every month we come to you with a burning question. John,
Yeah.
What is our burning question this month?
Our burning question is going to be bad news in real estate. Is it true and does it affect you?
False news.
False news. Maybe. We'll see. We got some facts for you guys and hopefully we can narrow down these. And if you're one of those that are anxious and just feel like the market is not going to go anywhere, we got some news for you.
We see, articles all the time or live news all the time from around the country and even locally, right? Talking about the bubble, talking about the crazy interest rates, and talking about how home values are going to just plummet. All these different things, all these different opinions, right? How do we dig through all this stuff and know what's applicable to us?
Yeah, and I think you said it in that statement itself, is that a lot of that stuff is general. It's a general news flash for all of Texas or all of San Antonio or globally or whatever the case is. So we actually want to bring you something locally and something that makes a little more sense to you as a consumer here in San Antonio, Texas. You want to tell them about that article?
Yeah, so we have a few articles that we're going to mention. One of them is literally about the San Antonio real estate market from Roofstock, written by Jeff Rode. And he gives us some interesting information about us, right?
Yeah, for sure. And to kind of put in this, obviously in a snapshot, we're not going to read you the entire article, you'll fall asleep on us. Not that it's a boring article, it's a great article, but we're going to streamline it for you. In the article, it states that the National Association of Realtors states that San Antonio is one of 10 hidden gems. Awesome. It also states that it's actually ranked one of the most stable markets as well. Also says that top 10 biggest population gains since 2010 to 2020 is positive. And also the market is undervalued compared to its surrounding peoples. So obviously undervalued sounds like a bad thing, but it's really not. It's more a bang for your buck if you think about it that way. Just to kind of put it in perspective as well, the average USA and the whole United States, the average listing price is about $379, and here in San Antonio it's $309. How factual is this article, right? We talked about bad news and having to look at the numbers and make sure we're good, we're on target. Well, we pulled up some numbers that are actually quite surprising and puts it all in perspective for us. So let's talk about the main numbers and what we can predict for June.
Right, so we're going to be giving you numbers from May of 2019, May of 2021, and May of 2022. And the first one we're going to talk about is pending sales. So in 2019, we had 31,950 pending sales for the month of May. In 2021, we had 40,342, and in 2022, we had 38,881. So you can see between the 3 years of 2019 to 2021, there was an almost 9,000 home increase. And over this last year, we had about 1,500 decrease, which makes sense. And we'll go into that as we talk about our closed sales.
So closed sales and pending sales are going to be very similar. And I'm going to give you the numbers and actually kind of correlate them to the article, which is actually really cool. So in 2019, for closed sales, we had 31,756. And then 2021, we had 39,705. And then 2022, sorry, we had 38,585. So these are the trends, right? What we're seeing is obviously that in the past few years with the pandemic, it's been hot. It's been crazy market. People are buying and buying and buying. Well, what this tells us is that people are slowing down from buying. It sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. It's talking about that stable portion of the article where it is a stable market, and this is showing you how we're starting to get more into that stability portion of it. Interest rates are back to average, back to normal, especially considering other rates. They actually it's a good rate right now. Obviously, if you're buying in the pandemic market, is nowhere near that, the 2% or whatever. But this is just, these two numbers are really backing up the fact that, hey, first of all, we're going to that stable market, but also pre-pandemic, there's still a growth, which also backs that article when it says that the population in San Antonio is growing consistently. So even throughout the pandemic, which can be kind of skewed because it was a little bit of an anomaly, we still were showing that even pre-pandemic to now, that growth is there. So that's already another backbone to that process. So it's really cool.
And adding a kind of a weird thing to that, last year in May for Sabre, which is our area, we had over 6,500 closed sales, right? This May we were at about 3,500 closed sales, and when I pulled that number, I was like, what? And then I remembered, okay, May last year, like, interest rates were practically nothing. I mean, you're borrowing for basically nothing.
Yeah.
So that gave like such a huge push, and that was to boost the economy. Now we're trying to get back to normal, and 3,500 is for Sabre is the average. So we're back at average.
And which is good, which is a good thing. So bad news bear. Let's talk about the price per square footage.
2019 price per square foot average was 117. 2019, okay, so you know.
Pre-pandemic.
2021 during the pandemic it was 135. Ooh, went up, right? Well, this year in May it is at 161. Damn.
That's up there. That's a huge, huge gap. This whole part right here, this is kind of the scary part, right? Because naturally we feel like, oh, there's a huge jump.
They're just, everybody's inflating it,
yeah,
right?
Like
but
this
we
is
don't
crazy.
fall in that because we're still undervalued.
Still undervalued compared to the United States in general. So, and that is part of the pro, because at this point we can potentially see continuously growth. What's also really kind of interesting, and we're talking about localizing our information, is that even somewhere as close as Austin, Texas, can completely throw off numbers if you're kind of comparing them, because they're not apples to apples. Based off Realtor.com, the price per square foot average over there in Austin, Texas right now is 356. So that's a huge gap. We can't compare those, you know?
Yeah. So new listings in 2019, we were at 43,390. 2021, we were at 42. We went down for new listings. Ooh. And then this year, new listings, 45,243. So is that increasing our inventory count?
Yes.
I like that.
Another good news. Another good news, because what does that say? People are trying to sell.
Balance.
And we are having a balance in the forefront, which is amazing, which is good news for San Antonio. Let's talk about buyers first.
Sabre, right? Our active homes on the market for this week is at 5,800 homes that are out there just waiting to be picked up by a buyer. Guys, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that this has gone up now consistently for 10 weeks in a row. So what does that tell us? It tells us that buyers are having more options. They're having a little more time to look and more choices. It gives us a little more freedom for our buyers to get what they want, to not settle.
What's also kind of cool is that because of what's being predicted and because the numbers show a positive trajectory, we're also seeing a positive route through value. You know, because San Antonio is has a growing population year over year. What does that mean for house values here? The houses are still going to be wanted. Houses are still going to be bought. That kind of tells really everybody that values are still going to grow up. So if you feel very concerned about buying a house now and potentially, you know, the bubble crashing and blah, 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 it's very unlikely based off of everything that we're seeing and all the numbers that we're seeing. So it's a safe time to move forward with it, especially kind of just breaking the value part of it down, right? But at the end of the day, you want a house to live in, a house and secure yourself a spot. San Antonio is a great place to be. It's growing, and there's this benefit on top of benefit. So now talking about the seller's perspective, right? As of right now, it's still a crazy market in a positive way. It's still a seller's market. Right now, the list is sold price, which means like for example, if someone says, I want to list my property for X amount, the percentage that you're going to get that amount plus more is still about 100%. Based on the market is still very low, right? So you're looking at selling your property rather quickly. So at this moment, it's still a safe opportunity for you to get top dollar for your property, for your home.
To get in multiple offers, right?
Exactly, and it priced correctly though, because I mean, if you price it too high, that's most likely you're not going to get. Well, that's another conversation. But if you price it correctly, very likely that you can be in a multiple offer situation, which gives you more options as a seller, which is always a good thing for you across the board. So back to the question: bad news in real estate Is it true? Does it affect you? What is your overall idea?
My thoughts on it is that while we're being trained and groomed to be afraid of everything, I think that the San Antonio market is in a great place. I think that sellers are selling and buyers are able to buy, and that nobody is being really affected in a negative way. Interest rates are at a normal place. Even our inventory count is starting to climb. It was at 1.1 last year. Now we're at 1.4 this year. And so that's showing us a trend that is going in a positive direction for maybe a little more balance, although the balancing act is proving already to be very gradual, very slow. So that's great, because that means there is no bubble that's popping in our market. Other markets probably will. A lot of markets were overvalued during the pandemic, and so they sold for, prices that could not be justified. And so due to that, there are going to be homeowners there that'll be upside down, right? That's not happening here. We're still undervalued for what we're selling now, which means that what people bought for last year is, if they decided to turn around and sell, they're still going to come out winning.
I think you're right on point. That, like, my perspective on this is just that, like, at the end of the day, that bad news really stands out a lot, right? Because we want to be careful with it. Like, educate yourself to your area as much as possible, because everything else can be a little bit far-fetched. I know that it's a very natural instinct to be like, man, like we had all this crazy hype and values are high, but because
I want to be assured.
Yes, and because of that, it's very natural to feel like there is going to be a bubble pop. And then because other places have that concern, and it's real, it's
valid.
It's a valid concern for other areas. Because we're undervalued, because we're having this progression, because the numbers are a tall tell the fact that everything is very marginalized, it's a safe opportunity for you to consider moving forward with whatever decision you are. Now, keep in mind, buying, selling, or investing. As of right now, with the information going on, I think it's safe to say that we're in a good spot.
I ain't got no bad news here.
I ain't got no bad news here either. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, text us, email us, whatever the case is. We're here to help out as much as possible. Even if you want us to isolate your specific zip code, your county, whatever the case is, we both have the keys to San Antonio and are ready to do that for you, to make sure we give you the most accurate information and give you a peace of mind across the board. If you found this video helpful at all, or you just want to be cool, hit that like button for us. And possibly subscribe for videos. We're trying to do this once a month. Yeah, be cool. Be part of the cool kid club.
Be part of our family.
My name is John Moses.
And I'm Jessica Requejo.
And this is your San Antonio Market Snapshot. We almost got it.
It's better to be in it
than out.